Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Learn Code Easy. Today in this video we will make a pop-up using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. First let me show you the final pop-up. Here is a button. When I click on it, the pop-up opens, and when I click on this continue button, the pop-up close. Now we will make this pop-up step by step. So this is the HTML file where I have added the basic HTML structure, and this one is the CSS file. In this CSS file, I have added margin 0. This removes all default outer spacing, and next I have added padding 0. This removes all default inner spacing. Next I have added box sizing border box. Normally the width and height of an element do not include padding and border, but with border box, padding and border are included inside the width and height. In this HTML file, I have added this title success pop-up UI, and then I have added this link tag to connect CSS file with this HTML file. Next, we will add font awesome link so we can use the check icon. So let's open a web browser, open a new tab and search font awesome CDN. Click on this website cdn.com libraries and this allmin.css. Copy this tag and paste this after this link tag. Save this. First, we will open this HTML file with any web browser. I am opening it using the live server. Let's open both in one window. Now we will add a button to open pop-up. So inside this body tag, I'll write button with the class name open button. Button text will be show success pop-up. Save this. Next we will create the pop-up structure. So I'll create a div with the class name popup and on ID popup. So let's write div.popup. Also ID will be popup. Inside the popup, I will add another div with the class name card. So let's write div.card. Now we will add one div for the icon with the class name icon. Inside this div, I need to add a check icon. So I will search font awesome check icon. You can copy this icon from here and paste this here. Save this. You can see here icon is displayed. Next I will add a heading with h2 tag. Heading text will be success. After this heading, I will add the paragraph to give more information. Here we will say your action has been completed successfully. Save this. Finally, we will add a button to close the pop-up. So let's write button with the class name button. Button text will be continue. Save this. Now we have a complete pop-up structure with an icon, title, description and button. Now it look nice. Now let's add CSS for body. So our content is perfectly centered on the screen. So let's write body tag here. First we will set the body height to 100 VH. VH stands for viewport height. So 100 VH means the body will take the full height of the browser window. Next, I will use flexbox to center our content. So let's write display flex. Next, I will use justify content center to center elements horizontally. And then I will add align item center to center elements vertically. Save this. Then I am adding background color, linear gradient, background linear. I am adding the angle first and then color codes. Save this. You can see here the background color of this complete web page, and our content is now exactly in the middle of the page, both vertically and horizontally. Next, we will style our button. I'll target the button class. So let's copy this. Here, I'll add. First, I will add some padding, 14 pixel and 36 pixel. This gives space inside the button, making it taller and wider. Next, I will set the background color to has 111,827, which is a dark color. After that, I will add. After that, I will make the button text white using color white. Next, I will remove the default button border using border none. Next, I'll make the button rounded by using border radius will be 16 pixel. So the text is easy to read. Finally, I'll add cursor pointer. So the cursor change when you hover, showing it's clickable. Now our button looks modern, clean and ready to open pop-up when clicked. Now let's style the pop-up. I'll target the pop-up class. Let's copy this, paste this class here. I'll use position fixed. So the pop-up stay in place even if we scroll the page. Next, I'm using inset 0. This is a shortcut for top 0, right 0, bottom 0, left 0. So the pop-up covers the entire screen. Next, I will add the semi-transparent black background using background RGBA 0.6. You can see here the changes in the background. Now, we don't want the pop-up show immediately. So, for this, let's add display none. For now, I'm commenting this. Next, I'll add justify content center. Center it horizontally. Align item center. Center vertically. Finally, I am add z index 999. So the pop-up is stay above all other content on the page. For now, I am adding the flex in place of none. Now our pop-up covers the entire screen, has a dark transparent background, and is perfectly centered. Now let's style the pop-up card. I'll target the pop-up class card. First, I'll set the width 360 pixel. Gives the pop-up a fixed and clear size. Next, I'll set the background color to white. So it's look like a proper card. Next, I'll add border radius. To make corner smooth. Now I'll add some padding. This gives a space inside the card so content doesn't stick to the edges. Next, I'll add text align center. All the text and icons inside the card will be centered. Next, to give a floating effect, I will add the box shadow. 0, 20 pixel, 40 pixel, RGBA 0.15. This makes a card stand out from the background. And finally, I'll add a animation called scale in. For this, I'm adding animation scale in zero point 0.3 second each. Save this. Now I'm creating an animation using @keyframes and naming it scale in. From from block defines how the animation starts. Next, I'll use transform scale 0.85. This means the pop-up starts slightly smaller than its normal size. And then I'll add opacity 0. Makes the pop-up invisible at the beginning. Now the to block. To block defines how the animation ends. Inside this, I'll use transform scale 1. This means the pop-up grows to its original size. And opacity 1 makes the pop-up fully visible at the end of the animation. So this animation makes the pop-up fade in and zoom in smoothly, giving a nice professional effect. Next, we will style the icon inside this card. Now I'll target icon class. First, I'll set the width 80 pixel. This defines the size of the icon container. Next, I'll also set the height. So it's become the perfect square. Now I'll use border radius 50%. I will add a green gradient background using linear gradient. This gives a nice success style look. Next, I'll set the text color. Color will be white. And next, we will set font size. Font size will be 34 pixel. After that, I'll set display flex to center the icon inside the circle. Justify content center to center horizontally and align item center to center vertically. Next, I'll add margin. This margin center the icon horizontally and add some space below it. Success icon looks clean, centered, and professional with a nice green circular background. Now I'll style the heading. Now I'll style this heading. So let's write H2. For this heading, first we will set font size. Font size will be 24 pixel. After that, we will add margin bottom will be 10 pixel, and next we will add color. Color will be has 111 827. This is a dark color, so the title looks strong and visible. Next, I'll style the description. So let's write P tag. For this, I'll add font size. Font size will be 14.5 pixel. This keeps the text smaller but easy to read. After that, we will add color has 6B7280. Gives a soft gray color so it doesn't look too bold. After that, we will add line height will be 1.6. Increase space between lines, making the text more readable. Now I'll style the button inside the pop-up. So I'll target the button class. Let's copy this. For this button, first we will add margin top 22 pixel. Next I'm adding some padding. Padding will be 13 pixel. After that we will add width. Width will be 100%. And next we will add border none. And then I'm adding the border radius. Border radius will be 12 pixel. Next I'm adding the background. Background color code will be has 22C55E. Save this. Next I'm adding white. Next we will add font size. Font size will be 15 pixel. Next we need to add font weight. Font weight will be 600. And then cursor pointer. Now let's add the CSS for hover effect. When the user hovers the button, the color becomes a darker green. So let's add background. Color code will be has 16A34A. Save this. You can see here on hover effect. Now our pop-up text and button looks clean, modern and interactive. Next we will add JavaScript to open and close the pop-up. So first we will change this display flex to display none. Now let's add the JS. Come to the HTML file. First I'll add the script tag. This is where we write our JavaScript code. Now I'll create a function called open popup. Inside this function, I'll select a popup using its ID. Then I change its display style to flex. So copy this ID. Here I'll write document dot get element by ID dot style dot display equal flex. This makes the pop-up visible and also keeps the content centered using flexbox. Now I'll create another function called close pop-up. Again I select the same pop-up element using its ID. This time I set display to none, which hides the pop-up. So let's write style dot display equal none. Save this. Right now we have created the JavaScript functions, but they are not connected to any buttons yet. So now let's add these functions to our buttons. First, I'll create a button that will open the pop-up. So let's write on click here. I'll call the open pop-up function. Means when the user click this button, the open pop-up function will run. This function changes the pop-up display to flex, so the pop-up becomes visible on the screen. Now inside this pop-up, we already have a continue button. I'll connect it to the close function. When the user click this button, the close pop-up function is called. This function set the pop-up display to none, so the pop-up gets hidden. Now let me click on open pop-up button. The pop-up opens, and when I click continue button, the pop-up closes. So that's it for this video. In this tutorial, we created a success pop-up using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and we also learned how to open and close it using buttons. If you found this video helpful, please like the video and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more HTML, CSS, and JavaScript projects and tutorials. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.